Hi guys. Sorry, I just realized that I double booked. I did the time zone wrong of the live stream. So I thought I still had 30 more minutes, but now I'm late. I'm so sorry. I don't know how I did that. Must have been multitasking. I think it is. Huh. Yeah. I meant to I meant to put it at 7:45 GMT, not 6:45 GMT. So I'm sorry about that. That is my mistake. I just finished the live stream in my Facebook group, and I'm really excited about today's topic because it's something that this question, when I came across it in my Facebook group, it spoke to me in multiple ways and resonated with me in multiple ways. And I knew that we had to talk about it. I'll just go ahead and jump right in. Since I usually talk for 5 minutes before starting. Since I'm late, I'll jump right in. So the topic of today's live stream is, are you holding yourself back from becoming a digital nomad? We like to think about the transition from a traditional lifestyle and job to a nomadic, independent, location independent life as having so many barriers, right? Like there's a lot to do, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot of things to change about your life and how you've done things forever. And so it can seem overwhelming, and it can seem like there's a lot of external factors that are in the way, like blocking you between your cubicle and the beach in Thailand or wherever it is that you want to work remotely. But I was thinking that a lot of the time we can be our own worst enemies. And so when I saw this question, it just was like an aha moment. I'm like, I need to talk about this. So the question is, I'm stuck because my company has made me super comfortable with great benefits and a great salary, but I'm miserable when I run out of vacation days. Who can relate? I've been at my job for 15 years, and it's time to get unstuck and uncomfortable so that I can enjoy my passions. I'm just not clear on what remote career I truly want to embark on. And this stuck out to me for a few reasons. First, because so many people are stuck in a job that's like good enough and comfortable enough and pays the bills, but isn't what they want to be doing. Also, like there's a lot of resistance for moving from a job that you've had for many years to a different job, whether it's remote or not, let alone from a traditional type of job to a completely different type of work, like an online business or freelancing or consulting or something else. And then this person also says that they want to enjoy their passions, which are frequently related to digital nomad careers. So there's a lot of connection between working in something you're passionate about and being location independent or self-employed or something like that. So I want to talk about why that might not be the best thing to do, and why you should maybe not work in what you're passionate about or not care at all if you're working something that it doesn't have to be your personal passion. And then also, he or she said that they weren't exactly clear on what remote career to pursue and therefore had not taken action to do that. And this stuck out because I think a lot of people can relate to all of those factors. And I specifically went through something really similar. And I have done that multiple times. So I think for me, growing up, I was always really concerned about what my job would be in the future. And I've written about this a couple times actually, that I always felt like really stressed out about picking a major and choosing a career path, because the way that the traditional educational system is set up is that we are in an institutional system that is basically prepping us to become factory workers. I mean, that's what it was based off of back in the day. So they're teaching us how to follow directions, how to follow the rules, how to conform, and how to choose from a selection of options that are provided to us. And in my case, it was a list of jobs or careers that they would match you up with on a career inventory test or a personality test. And if you, if the right job for you wasn't on the list, then you could actually get an error and not be matched with any job. So there's always so much pressure back from childhood, from, trying to avoid mistakes so you don't get bad grades and so you can stay on time in school and then you can get into a good college and all of that. And then there's also a lot of pressure if you do decide to go to another higher education, of what major you're going to pick, and then it's all time restricted. And then from there, what type of career, what type of job. So it's basically like you have one shot at either succeeding or failing. And then once you get a job, it almost has to be like so bad for you to actually leave, because there's such high switching costs to finding a new job unless you get recruited or some kind of an offer. So I know I can relate to that, and also being uncomfortable with not being sure even what type of business I wanted to do. Over the years, I've had a lot of business ideas that I was like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, but then in not doing any of them, you really miss out. And so when I saw this question, I then in the same day came across a ton of research and articles and things just completely unrelated that really backed up my answer and my perception to the question. So I really think, like, after having gone through so many years of school and then a work experience in international jobs and in remote jobs and working for myself, and also missing a lot of opportunities because I wasn't exactly sure that would be like the perfect thing or the right thing for me to do, is like my consensus now is that you don't have to go after a perfect job. Like, there is no such thing as a perfect job or a perfect career path. And there's no way to ever tell. It's like whatever decision you make is going to be the right decision for you. So you don't have to find the perfect job. You don't have to necessarily quit your job or your field before you start exploring these other options. You don't have to work in something that you're necessarily passionate about. And you don't have to even have like some kind of life mission or life purpose to be able to become a remote worker or a digital nomad or make a change in your career or your workplace. And you don't have to like try to change the world or anything like that. And, you don't have to know where the road leads. You guys know I've talked about Stoicism a few times here, and the Stoics believed in like always being prepared for like the worst case scenario. So when it happens, you're not disrupted at all. And so they knew that even though we might try to think and plan for like the worst thing that can happen, something can always come out of left field that we didn't expect. So there's always a lot of potential decisions that you could have made differently, but you don't know where that would have let you end up either. So I think it helps to do one of those like worst case scenario exercises where you ask yourself, like, what is the worst thing that could happen if you started spending like a couple hours a week working on your side hustle and then it failed? Or what if you became a freelancer and you hated it? Or what if you became a freelancer and you started making less money than you are now? Or like what if you got a remote job and you didn't like it, or whatever it is. And so, what would happen? Like, sometimes the worst things that would happen would actually be good things. Like, you could learn a lot about what to do and not to do for your next venture. And you could learn what you like and what you don't like, and what you can take off of your list. When people ask you, what do you want? A lot of people just answer like, well, I know I don't want this and this and this, but you wouldn't know that until you've tried it, like a food. Like sometimes you could look at something and be like, I don't like it, but also You don't know for sure until you try it. And then you could also, when you're trying something that you don't know how to do, you have to build new skills. Or if you're trying something outside of your comfort zone, you have to expose yourself to something different. And so you can get feedback in that area, and it's just going to make you stronger and like more well-rounded, more experienced, and just keep building your expertise. Because I saw a stat recently that most people don't really like expand their knowledge that much once they get into the workforce. They get really good at what they do, or maybe in like a small area of what they do, but they don't stray outside of any like percentile of skills that is very far from their job role, for example. And so Cal Newport, in his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, talks about the importance of building career capital through deliberate practice, and which is intentionally trying things that are difficult and a mental strain for you, and taking you out of your comfort zone, so that over time you have enough career capital that you get to set your rate, your hourly rate. You get to decide where you work. You become in high demand from employers. You become first in line for promotions or for pay raises and things like that. And I bring up Cal Newport because this person also said that they weren't sure that they could find something that they were passionate about. And people like Cal argue that this whole passion thing is like a complete fallacy, and that many people don't take opportunities because they aren't sure that they're passionate about something, whereas research is showing that action and experience and expertise and skill in a certain area, even if it's something that you weren't passionate about before, when you reach a certain level, you actually become passionate in that. And so that is the argument for not working in something that you're passionate about now, but working in something that you're good at, because that passion will come later. So I wrote that I think so, I do, like we tend to put too much pressure on having one single career and making like the right choice and the perfect choice. And the way that the world economy is changing, and the gig economy and the freelance economy and the sharing economy, and all of these things are happening. Like we all know now that you can't just have one career, and you can't just depend maybe on one stream of income. People are consulting, freelancing, starting side hustles, starting online stores, all sorts of things. People are out there hustling. And so the only way to find out what you should be working in as a remote career is to start trying things out. And when you write down on paper what's the worst that could happen, it's probably not as bad as it seems in your head first. Who's hanging out here? Hello, Tech Lords. Tech Lords, Larry and Darren. What's up, guys? Larry says, it's what you do. Oh, what you do is not who you are. Exactly. Everybody who is working in something that they don't necessarily like, also they have a hard time answering that question. It's like, what do you do? What do you do? Where are you from? Those are hard questions to answer also as a digital nomad. But sometimes, like I used to surf competitively. So my friends would say like, oh, well, I'm a surfer, but, I also wait tables or work at a surf shop or teach surf lessons. And I know that's very prevalent in a lot of industries, especially in like entertainment and things like that, where people feel like their identity is in the wrong career or whatever. And a really cool example that I heard the other day on a podcast that kind of fits this scenario is the founder of Tom's, the shoe company. So I didn't know his story, but he basically is a really good case study for what to do and how just trying things and asking what if can lead to like the most unexpected places. versus me, like I had a more, I mean, people see me as a risk taker because I've been to all of these countries and I have my own business and I've traveled all over the world. But when I think of the many ideas that I've had and how few of them I actually took action on to explore, it does seem like a lot of missed opportunities. And I can totally see the writing on the wall, even though I'm not like 100 years old on my deathbed. Like I am in my 30s already, like, man, I missed out on like so many lessons and so much experience because I wasn't sure if an idea was going to work, and I wasn't sure if it was the right fit for me, or if I wasn't sure if it was worth pursuing. And I think that a lot of things probably are, if you can test them in small controlled environments, so you don't have to be so afraid of failing. Like if it's like not a far way to fall down, you know? So the owner of Tom's, he actually started his first company in college because he got injured in sports and he couldn't do his laundry. And this was before Google and stuff. So he couldn't find anyone to help him with his laundry. And so he started his own college laundry service, and they sold like 500 grand worth of prepaid laundry services in the first semester before they even had like helped one person yet. You know, they basically tested their idea at freshman orientation and it worked. And then he went from that to having a media company with billboards in Nashville, which he had no experience doing. And then he's like, oh, I want to learn to play polo in Argentina. So he goes to Argentina to play polo, and he meets these women who are doing philanthropic work to help kids get shoes. And then he ends up like, oh, I want to help you guys. And he starts that company, Tom's, and completely revolutionized like the shoe industry and created this like philanthropic business model of giving one pair of shoes away for every pair that they sold. And something that he said to me that stuck out was, he was like, yeah, you know, I did all of these companies and he made like millions of dollars and sold them, and he wasn't passionate about any of them. He just saw something that made him curious, and he's like, I wonder if I could do that, or I wonder if I could fix that. And he pursued it with, you know, a lot of work, and it led to these amazing places. He even applied for to be on a reality TV show, and he got rejected. But another casting director offered him the first spot on the first episode of The Amazing Race. So even though he failed at getting on this other reality show that he wanted to be on, he ended up on The Amazing Race and almost won. And so he said that like he never thought that he would work in any of those businesses forever. They were just temporary like things to do. And I think that we would all benefit from having that kind of like playful attitude of like, oh, what if I applied for this job? What if I started this side hustle company? Like, what's the worst that could happen? You know, hopefully you don't like take out a home loan or something, but you know, yeah, just taking risk. I think we have to unprogram ourselves from that mindset that we're brought up with since we're really little kids of like coloring in the lines and like don't mess up or you're going to get points taken off. And it's like we just have to get out of that and stop holding ourselves back. What else did he say? He said he never expected to do any of them for life. Nothing is permanent. And I wrote down the worst case scenario, like if you get a remote job and you don't like it, is that you make some money and you learn something that you don't like, and then you apply for new jobs. And one of the things that has held people back a lot in taking career risks is trying not to mess up their resume or their CV. And I never even had a resume, like pretty much my whole life. I mean, I made one in college, and then I updated it recently just out of curiosity. I wanted to see what I would even put on there, because I do a lot of, you know, personal development, self-development stuff. So I'm always assessing like my skills and things that I'm interested in and things that I want to learn. And I'm journaling every day. So I'm always looking into that kind of stuff. But there's nothing like, even if you have a gap on your resume because you went backpacking through Africa, like you can always explain that to some HR person. And then there's also companies that don't even ask you for a resume anymore. Like Toggle is one. You just take a test and you can qualify to work for them. They don't care about your cover letter or anything like that. And then with the to go back also with the passion thing, like the guy who started Tom's, he was passionate about helping kids. He wasn't passionate about shoes. I don't think he is passionate about shoes still, but he's become really good at what he does. And so that's what Cal Newport talks about, and a lot of other amazing authors. But in Cal's book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, he talks about the importance of creating expertise in an area and then finding fulfillment in like your level of skill in that area of expertise, and then becoming passionate about it afterwards, not before. So that really makes a lot of sense. Like there's some things that you're drawn to and you don't actually know why. And then there's other things that you think that you won't like, but then you realize you're good at it and you keep doing it. And then there's things that you don't want to do anyway. Like there's things I've been bad at and I didn't like. Like I tried playing piano for 10 years and I never liked it and I was never good at it. But maybe another instrument I would like more. And I definitely like music. I tried out for the the cheerleading squad in college, and I didn't make it. And I ended up on the crew team, on the rowing team, which I was really good at. I was like the Southeastern champion on the erg, and I like hated it too. But I mean, I forced myself to compete and do my best. And I was always competing against myself. But at the end of the year, when they offered me a scholarship, I turned it down because I just didn't want to get up at like 3 a.m. to go kill myself rowing out across the lake for hours. So, but it was a great experience. And I got to experience what being a college athlete was like for a year, and then, moved on to other things. Oh, my mom wants to FaceTime. Let me answer. Hey, Mom, I'm on a live stream.
Oh, never mind. Bye.
Bye. Anyways. So that's it. Oh, there was also a quote I pulled from that book that said, passion is dangerous. Passion can make you less happy, and passion can result in bankruptcy or failure. It's the fault of the 1970s book, What Color is Your Parachute? So I just made a note that like there's no magic job waiting for anyone. If you reduce the importance of passion in your remote work job search, you can open up your possibilities a lot more, and without having to worry so much if it doesn't work out necessarily. So that's my spiel on that. Let me know what you guys think. I also found an article today, like a few minutes before I started the last live stream, because I have this thing called Many Stories, which is like a start page on Chrome. And it's for Medium. It shows blog articles from the day. And the number one article on there today was stop finding your passion and find yourself instead. And it just says to like do things first and then assess later. And that failure is just data points. So I think we would all be better off if we tried more things, and then you just increase your chances that one of them will work out. Alberto is here. He says, hi, happy to be here for 2 days in a row. And we're happy you're here too. Larry coming in with the wisdom. You shouldn't live your life with what ifs and if only. Don't dwell on regrets. Move forward always. Yeah, exactly. I think like regret is something that, I mean, I don't know if I have it, or people try not to have regrets at all. But I think the feeling of regret or like a missed opportunity can just be an indicator, if you're ever confronted with that situation again, that maybe you make a different choice on how to deal with it. And Alberto shared The War of Art, which is a great book about resistance and why it makes no sense to live in fear in the 21st century. I love that book. I actually listened to it on audiobook, but I think I would rather read it because I'm more of a visual learner. Yeah, I don't know all of the science behind it, but fear is something that is very prominent in just human nature. It's probably from, many generations of our ancestors and the lizard brain and all of that stuff. So things have been advancing so quickly that, we just can't evolve fast enough. So we have to be in charge and use logic. If you can't change it or stop it, it's a waste of time to worry about it. Agree, Larry. Yeah, that's something that I've been practicing a lot with Stoicism in my daily Stoic journal. And it talks, like this month or the past couple weeks, it's been talking a lot about why you shouldn't care like what other people do. Like we get somewhere along the way, people start caring what other people are doing and like the decisions they make, and they have a reaction to it, like an emotional reaction. And Stoicism has helped me be like, okay, well, like if someone cancels plans with you, you can get mad about it, or you can just be like, okay. It can be applied in anything. I'm Honed says, I'm holding myself back because I'm in a relationship of 5 years. He can't be a digital nomad due to pets and his own goals. Should I break it off? Oh my God, I actually have that in the chapter of my book on dating and relationships as a digital nomad. I actually have a headline in the chapter about what to do if your significant other can't travel with you. And to be honest, it's a bit sparse right now because it's a difficult topic and it's a difficult thing to answer. But as somebody who has done both and who has studied this and talked with a lot of digital nomads about their relationship history, I would say that, I don't want to say it's not going to work out, but from what I've seen, the desire to travel and to be nomadic seems to take precedence over romantic relationships, because this journey of being location independent and experiencing this kind of ultimate freedom is something that this urge is not going to go away. But in most cases, relationships are going to end at some point. And if it's strong enough, it will survive this digital nomad transition time. So, you just have to think like if you want to try doing a long distance thing or what you want to do. But I personally, and from my friends who I've talked to, we wouldn't not be digital nomads and not travel because we were in relationships. Like when I was in a long-term relationship, sometimes my ex would travel with me, but sometimes I would just say like, okay, I'm going to Asia for 3 months. Do you want to come? And he couldn't come or didn't want to come. So he would be like, okay, you can go. And we did the long distance thing and we did make it work for a while. But it just came to a point where I was like, well, I'm going to keep traveling because this is what I love doing. And he was like, well, I'm going to live in the US because I like it here and I'm happy here. And I was like, well, we might not see each other for a really long time. So, maybe let's take a break or something. And it was like a 4 or 5 year relationship too. So on the other side, like I also know people who travel with their pets, but I would just say like never to, we're human beings. So we want to have friendships. We want to have relationships. We want to have families and everything. You don't want to be selfish, but you also don't want to live your life on somebody else's terms. So if, there has to be a compromise there, or you basically try long distance and then see what happens. But I wouldn't put off being a digital nomad because my significant other couldn't do it or didn't want to do it, because there's already so many other types of things that you like try to find a happy medium on, that's one of them that for me is a non-negotiable. So you have to determine if that's like one of the most important things for you. Larry says his affliction is he speaks in analogy, metaphor, and cliche a lot. Sorry. No, I like it. It's very helpful. Yeah, pets can travel, but it depends on how big the pets are. Yeah, and it's not good for them to go on a plane. Actually, I had a guy who moved 5 cats to Costa Rica, but like 2 of them ran away. So that wasn't good because the cats, they get disoriented or they get lost. I'm not sure. But, and the other thing with digital nomads is that a lot of people think that they're going to go for 1 month or 6 months or 1 year, and then they just keep going and going. So it can sometimes be just delaying the inevitable. There's a lot of people who I've met, especially here in Bansko, that have been like 2 years, 3 years, and they thought that they were only going to go for 1 year. But it's just, they find so many other things they want to do, and they find fulfillment in the lifestyle, and they don't, most like 80% or 90% of nomads report that they don't want to go back to the previous way of living. They might want to keep traveling or try something new, some new hybrid form. Thank you so much. It makes so much sense, and it's great that you can relate. Oh, you're welcome. I will link to the dating article that I wrote. You can check that out. But yeah, the dating and relationships chapter, it took me 2 days to write it because it's very sensitive and personal to each person. But you don't want to resent your significant other for like not wanting to do the same things. And if it's going to work out, you can always come back. Like you might go and then really miss each other and want to go back or whatever. Or you might be like, why did I wait so long to do this? Cool. Any other questions? I'm going to call my mom back. Sunday's a good day for FaceTiming. So I actually also put in the book that it's important to connect with your friends and family when you're traveling as a nomad, because sometimes time can go by really fast and you realize like a long time has passed since you've talked to somebody who like really knows you well, and you might be just always meeting new people. And so it's really important to stay grounded and talk with your family members. Larry's had long relationships with several nomads, and they arranged to overlap for a few weeks once or twice a year. That's cool. That sounds like the best of both worlds. Yeah, that would be ideal. I haven't actually dated any digital nomads yet, but that would be ideal to date another digital nomad. The only thing that happens sometimes in nomad relationships is that people or travelers is that they take it too serious too fast. So you go from like having a dinner together to like traveling the world together for a month or something, and it's just really intense. Things escalate quickly. But I think like some kind of open relationship where you're like familiar with each other, but you're kind of tethered but flexible and free at the same time, it sounds like it could work for a lot of people. Hey, Mike. Oh, he's very informative. Thanks, Kristin. You're welcome. Larry's been doing this for years. Cool. I actually have a second like follow-up article to the dating article. So maybe I'll interview you for my article. I had a Google Doc or a Google form that I was sending out to nomads to answer it. No jealousy. Together time is finite and always new, fun, and novel, never boring. Awesome. The new normal. Yeah, I mean, being that I'm single and I've never been married or had kids or anything like that, I don't have exactly both perspectives, but it's not a surefire happiness in life pill to do the traditional path of what's expected, you know, which is to procreate. Obviously, we're made to do that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be perfect. Nothing is, you know, like the digital nomad lifestyle is really good, but it's not perfect either. And it can't be. Like, there's no perfect economic system, political system, lifestyle. It's all always in flux and always changing. And there's a lot of benefits to being location independent, but there's some downsides too, which I've talked about in my videos. I have one on the worst things about being a digital nomad. Let's see if I can find that. Worst things. And then I have also one on the like challenges. Okay, so I'm not on the Google. I might have to search it on YouTube. I can't multitask. I like posting it at the end. Here we go. The challenge of being a digital nomad. It's a blog and it has a video in it, I think. Yes, it does. Perfect. As usual, I will post the links in the description later or as a comment. Tech Lords is going to visit his youngest grandson. Oh, have fun. See you tomorrow. Larry's done procreating, just recreating. Legend. Darren says, how are your connections with voice over IP, FaceTime, etc.? Do you find delays or issues? No, not at all. Actually, whenever I talk to people and FaceTime or do a WhatsApp video call, things like that, they're like, wow, it seems like you're just like nearby, but you're in Eastern Europe. So it's gotten so much better. Actually, I find FaceTime and actually I find WhatsApp video to be the best quality over FaceTime. And I find those to be better quality or FaceTime audio over a regular phone call. So I usually do that. Yeah, and better than Skype too. Skype kind of sucks. Really, it doesn't seem like they've innovated that since like they invented it. But Estonia invented Skype. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to call my mom back and go to sleep, but I hope that you have a great rest of your Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow on another live stream here on Traveling with Kristin. Bye.